And this guy, when he stands, he takes up a big area.
Big is a nice way to put it. We are at the 2-minute warning. Philadelphia trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. Bud Carson and his defense, led by William Perry, have done a nice job against Pittsburgh today, and they've got the lead. The offense happened on the opening kickoff. A 58-yard return by Herschel Walker and a subsequent 21-yard field goal by Eddie Murray. 3-0 is the score. It is snowing here in Pittsburgh. They have told us it would have flurries in the forecast all day, and sure enough it has. And the wind, I think, has played a factor in this game too, Jerry.
A lot of drop passes, a lot of bad throws, so it must be down. It must be bad down on the field, worse than it is up here. We got a little heat up here.
It's third down now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 3rd and 13. And O'Donnell going into the teeth of a frigid Pennsylvania wind.
All out blitz. He
throws it to nobody. Threw it away. And the blitz coming up from William Thomas. And so Pittsburgh gets a taste of what they do so well, and that's blitz.
And Williams arguing he wants grounding. There was nobody near that football. He threw that thing absolutely nowhere. William will be free right over here. Watch him run. It's a turn back protection. Everybody turned the back side and left him hot for the quarterback. Did a good job, Kevin, not hitting the quarterback in the head there, or there'd been another penalty. Would have been the 4th penalty.
4th possession, 3rd punt for Pittsburgh. Out of bounds it goes. Jeff Seidner watched it sail over his head as he glanced up into the snow. A 45-yard punt on the play. And we had our Aflac trivia question a bit ago, and we'll repeat it for you once again and see if you can figure it out. What was the team name when the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles franchises merged back in the middle of World War II, back in 1943? Why not call them the Steagles?
There they are.
And they were 5-4-1. And in fact, Mr. Rooney, Art Rooney, at one time owned half of the Philadelphia franchise. Then sold it to Burt Bell, and they split. But at one time during World War II, when manpower was in short supply in this country, they combined the two teams. And in Pennsylvania, they were called the Steagles. First down and 10. Philadelphia hoping to steal a win here in Pittsburgh. They've lost 4 in a row. Cunningham with the wind at his back. Incomplete. Looking for Calvin Williams. It didn't look like a catchable pass, and McKyer was covering. The former San Francisco 49er and Miami Dolphin.
Greg Lloyd, number 95, was blitzing, and that left Chad Brown, the inside linebacker, 94, man-to-man on Herschel Walker. So if anybody upstairs sees that, they'll come back and try to hit a big one before the day. Now Herschel's in the fullback position in the eye.
Far more passing than we anticipated today. Both teams said they wanted to run. Gardner in the backfield, and the first pitch throws to Gardner. Story in 2 games. Charlie Gardner, flag thrown in the pile after he picked up about 3 yards. Levon Kirkland makes the stop for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of penalties in this game so far. A cold and snowy day in Pittsburgh. And it's against Philadelphia, and they have gotten the most of the penalty situations today. And Richie Kotite
calling it on that crackback, probably. They had motion with the flanker and probably cracked below the waist.
Personal foul, illegal crackback, number 89, offense.
Calvin
Half
Williams.
the distance to the goal line, 2nd down.
They continue to get these penalties, and I know that drives every coach crazy. I had a team one time, Kevin, the same way. It didn't matter how much. I know he emphasized it. He doesn't want him to have a penalty. You got to get somebody's attention. You got to snatch somebody on the sideline, give somebody a bloody nose so we quit getting these penalties if you're an Eagle fan.
2nd down, 19 for Cunningham. Charlie Gardner, the rookie from Tennessee, to the 15. Chad Brown, Levon Kirkland were there. Gardner's had a series of injuries. He's had cracked ribs. He's had a thigh, and they've also kind of questioned his practice habits, the young rookie.
And he's had trouble picking up the blitz and blocking.
So Bill Cowher trying to keep that AFC best record in tow. Right now he is losing. Boxer from Brooklyn, Rich Kotite, in a fight here in Pittsburgh today against his in-state rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And they're sort of their toughest rival right now, Kevin, is himself, with a total of 6 penalties this half.
Packers halftime coming up with James Brown and Terry Bradshaw. Big day in the NFL. 3rd down. 15 to go, and a flag thrown before the ball is snapped. Greg Lloyd may have moved on that line.
How about your meeting with Greg Lloyd? Were you surprised at his size when you first met him?
We thought he was a running back when he first walked in.
Encroachment, number 95, defense. 5 yards, third down.
Lloyd has 10 sacks, and Kevin Green on the other side for Bill Cowher has 14. The most dynamic duo on one team in the NFL in terms of sacks.
And Green there came from the Rams, of course, and Lloyd was drafted here from Fort Valley State, and he says he goes 100 miles an hour for 60 minutes is all he lives for.
With the penalty now, 3rd and 10 for Cunningham. Williams in motion. Garner whacked by Ray Seals. Seals has knocked down a pass today, and he makes a tackle and back of the line for a loss for the Philadelphia offense.
He was in a slant to his left, so he slanted right into the play because Greg Lloyd was blitzing. He was slanting down left, and there he was. Look at the size of him. He's fully grown.
Randall Cunningham and Zeke Bratkowski talk on the sideline. Philadelphia leading 3-0. On Fox. 5th consecutive punt by Barker. Charles Johnson to the 42. And a return of 15 yards on the punt of 42 by Barker of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's the 5th consecutive drive.
And what's happened here, Kevin, is the field position changes after every exchange of punts. We're sitting up here at the 50, and each time Pittsburgh goes in, they go in closer to the end zone. So field position is changing because of penalties and not making first downs.
That's the 5th consecutive drive ending with a punt for Philadelphia. So defense has made the trademark, and let's see if Philadelphia can hold on now here for the final minute of the first half. Good beginning field position for Pittsburgh from the 42 of Philadelphia. O'Donnell, he's got his receiver. Burnett moves to get to the 32. And Andre Hastings, who makes just his 13th catch all season, gets a gain of 8.
No huddle in the corner. Mark McMillan did a good job. He wouldn't let the receiver up, so he took some more time off the clock.
2nd down and about 2 for O'Donnell. Dropped. What a whack put on Charles Johnson by Michael Zordich. Incomplete pass, and the clock is stopped with 38 seconds. And the 6th Pittsburgh drop today.
Here's Michael. He used to play with the Cardinals, and Buddy Ryan sort of didn't want him, didn't give him an offer. And he had a chance to get hooked in with Bud Carson. Nice lick. Nice hit.
Good whack.
He's the guy that's playing on the line in a rundown situation and in the back end on the passing.
They're down in 2 for the Steelers, who trail 3-0. And it goes right to John L. Williams. And he gets the first down to the 30. Now the Eagles are saying there may have been a fumble on the play. Pittsburgh has already turned it over once on the interception. And still no indication from our referees as they dig in that pile.
That's called a direct snap draw. The quarterback pretending like he was getting the snap in the shotgun and going to the up back.
John Jackson fell on it.
Oh, Townsend cannot believe they did not give him the ball. Townsend's arguing.
And they throw it down to stop the clock. 22 seconds now remaining in our first half. And now you get thoughts of Gary Anderson in your head, the field goal kicker, who had a 41-yard field goal last week against the Cincinnati Bengals. But in the week before, he missed 3 against the Los Angeles Raiders. And coming up, our Dockers halftime. James Brown and Terry Bradshaw will talk over a very busy and important day in terms of playoff positioning in the NFL. Scores and highlights to accompany, and big Bayous. I think you'll enjoy that feature.
Bayou too. Is it going by you?
Yeah, it's gone by me all season long.
I've been by you all year.
I know it. I know you've enjoyed it as Pittsburgh has taken a chance to throw the ball down and eat up some time here. And the Eagles have all 3 of their timeouts remaining.
This is the first time Pittsburgh in this 2-minute situation has run the 4 wide receivers. So they're all 4 wides with this minute left.
Jerry, we thought that Bill Cowher would run the ball today and have a lot of blitzing. We haven't seen much of either.
I don't know what's happened, sir. Everybody's got a sink here a little bit. And the Eagles would be sitting good, but the penalties have hurt them in this field position.
Right now from the 30-yard line as Richie Kotek continues to argue where the ball has been placed. And the 2nd down and 10. This is the deepest penetration that Pittsburgh has had all day. 4 wide receivers, 2nd down and 10. Neil O'Donnell. so the first down was the 20. He makes it to the 24, and Ernie Mills and the clock continue to get back in position. 10 seconds remaining. No timeouts now for Pittsburgh, and they have to stop the clock.
They could have called a penalty there, really, on Pittsburgh moving. Philadelphia did a good job of not getting out of their way.
Gary Anderson, who has gone 21 of 25 on field goals, has made 45 consecutive on artificial turf.
That's unbelievable, Kevin. 45 straight. Now, timeout. Oh, he didn't give it to him.
And a bounced up play as Mark Royals is taken down. And they threw the ball away, picked up by the center, Kendall Gammon. And he stumbles and bumbles and works his way near the 30, and this has got to be reviewed because Philadelphia called the timeout.
They did.
And no time now remains, except I guess now what?
Forward progress was ruled on the play before the backward pass. Forward progress was ruled.
Zordich was calling the timeout all over the official, and thank goodness for him. He didn't get the timeout. Watch this play. People don't believe this is a live play. Look at him. Are we doing this or not?
It's like Garo Upremian, huh? Well, that was a try for 3 points, and it goes to the side because Philadelphia now gets the ball with 4 seconds remaining on the second quarter clock. So Gary Anderson's hesitancy has hurt the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Philadelphia's just going to sit on it for the final 4 seconds.
Well, that was weird because Michael Zordich was calling timeout and everybody was looking at him.
Seeing that distracted Anderson.
It really did. Everybody thought that the clock had run out or the timeout was called.
Well, in a smash mouth game orchestrated by Bill Cowher and Rich Kotite, we've had defense as the headlines in the first half from Pittsburgh today. The opening play on the kickoff return by Walker has been the biggest play of the game. It was 58 yards. Followed by a 21-yard field goal by Eddie Murray. That's the only scoring we've had. Kotite has lost 4 in a row. Pittsburgh has won 5 in a row. It's 3-0 Philadelphia. Now this from your local station. Philadelphia is on top 3-0 with a 21-yard field goal. Right now it's time for our first half highlight brought to you by MCI. Proof positive. And it was the first play of the game.
The only drive either team has been able to do against the other team's defense, and Herschel Walker bringing back the kickoff return.
He went 58 yards. Cunningham couldn't get him in the end zone, and then an Eddie Murray 21-yard field goal followed. And so we've got a 3-0 Philadelphia lead. Eagles have lost 4 in a row, fighting for their playoff lives. Pittsburgh trying to get that home field advantage. They are 10-3. They've won 5 consecutive games. You know, coming into the game, we all talked about the vaunted Pittsburgh defense, but Philadelphia has matched them very well today, I think.
And people forget the Eagles are the 4th best defense in football, and you got to thank Bud Carson. Bud Carson's game plans are complicated. They said they had 40 pages in the game plan. Watch this hit. Watch this whack by one of the safeties, Michael Zordich. Hello! Knock you down. That's what they do.
And there's Bud Carson, who was the defensive architect of the Super Bowl teams here in Pittsburgh, the Steel Curtain defense.
Also the guy that hired me at Georgia Tech. I got to work for Bud Carson for about 4 years. He hired me away from a little place, Western Kentucky. And you learn football when you're with Bud. Bud teaches everybody how to be a better football coach.
There's Bobby April, who is a coach with you in special teams down in Atlanta. And the special teams have gone from worst to almost first in the NFL in 1 season's time.
And what their strength has been, according to their head coaches, they now can return kickoffs, and that's how they're starting this second half. They said Bobby April has brought back the kickoff return in Pittsburgh.
Kicking off will be Jeff Wilkins, who was brought in because of his long leg. Murray wasn't getting it done, so Wilkins brought in. The hang time is the thing they like. And from the 8-yard line, it is Charles Johnson. Split up and brought down, and I mean in a hurry and in a heap by Ken Rose, who just won the MVP for special teams, announced this week with the Philadelphia Eagles. And Jerry, here are some of the numbers which accompany our first half, and you're taking a look at those rushing yards. And so far, Philadelphia wanted to run, and they've been able to run.
And rushing attempts, they both have 15 rushing attempts at halftime, and the team with the most rushes when this game's over we'll think win. And look at the drop passes, we think because of the weather.
It is 23. It has snowed on and off all day long. The winds are gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour. Now at the back of Neil O'Donnell. The Steelers have it first down and 10.